Hi, thanks for being here. Just wanted to make another quick video. This video on our choices. It is out there and it is understood generally or said that not targets of narcissists or narcissistic abuse victims chose the narcissist as if, the victim made a choice to be with the narcissist. And I mean, it's hard to miss. Many spaces you go into, especially the metaphysical or spiritual spaces, a lot of gurus claim that targets choose the narcissist. And, the more you get into it, and the more you listen and try to comprehend what that means to some people, it just doesn't pan out. To some people, it still doesn't make sense. It's hard to grasp, it's hard to wrap their minds around. And if you're one of those persons, then you're okay. Don't worry about having to wrap your mind around it, okay? Because here's my perspective. You can't just believe that, you know, what is generally believed or, you know, whatever theory society follows majority wise, you have to follow, you have to conform to that. You don't have to. You could choose to accept what you want to accept and discard what you want to discard when it comes to, like I said, opinions, theories, and the like. I don't feel that targets of narcissists choose a narcissist per se. I don't feel that way. I'm not going to try to wrap my mind around it. You know, hey, if that was the case, it'll naturally make sense to me or come to me in the future. Currently, though, no, I'm not going to use my headspace or mental energy that will eventually sap my physical energy to figure that out or make it make sense. Because, um, number one, that's reverse talk. Like, narcissists actually choose you, okay? Narcissists choose you. You do not choose the narcissist. Now, let's get a little deeper into this. Yeah, sure, okay? You may tolerate narcissistic behavior. You may allow, you may permit, um, you may condone, right? Their devaluing attitudes and behaviors. You may stomach it. You might even accept it. Let's say you endured, right? The bullcrap that they threw your way, their rage or insults and other forms of manipulation. You may have just brushed it off, ignored it. You may have even swallowed it. You suffered through it. You took it. You bore it. You weathered it. Okay? Um, whatever term you choose to use, don't accept that you chose it. Okay? You could use any of the terms that I just listed, but the fact that you chose it, quote unquote, just throw that one away. Get rid of that because, sure, once you began interacting with the narcissist, you believed the persona they engaged you with, right? You believed and fell for the facade, right? You fell for the facade and it just seemed okay to you. It seemed normal, it seemed right. It seemed everyday. Nothing triggered you or threw you off about it, right? So you continued with them. Now, the thing with narcissists is that they are master mimickers, okay? They are master mimickers. That's even before becoming master manipulators. They are master mimickers because they can mimic the energy that you give off. So it's like if you're a relaxed person, if you're an energized person, if you kind of go in between moods, they are very keen. They watch you. They are detailed in their observations. They, they watch how you clasp your hands together. They watch how you cross your legs. They watch how you wiggle your toes. They probably even count how many blinks you make. Okay? They listen to your ums and ahs. They listen to how you react to things happening in your surroundings. Um, they definitely pay attention to how you respond to any little thing they do. And trust me, they've had the practice on many different targets and victims to know what to do, what to pull out their trick hat, what to pull out their manipulation toolbox, right? What gadgets to pull out their bag of tricks. They know and they use them repeatedly, repeatedly, repeatedly. It becomes a habit. That's who they are, whether you want to call it subconsciously, um, deep within their core, their authentic self, if that is even a term that can be used for them. But they cover that all up with their false self. So you see, like the outer layer, like you see the skin, so to speak, or I don't think avatar is a good term for it, but you see that suit that they put on and zip off as they like, as they feel like, at their will or at their whim, and that's what you get. They're great mimickers. Okay, they they mimic you really well. So almost like if you get a fingerprint analyzer or something like that, and you put your fingerprint on it, they are the con men of that game. They can fraud you out of your identity, what makes you you. So don't be hard on yourself, or don't be hard on others who were caught in their web. So the fact that you're told that you chose the narcissist, no, the narcissist chose you and they mimicked you, and you chose the person that you thought they were. You chose a great manipulator. You chose someone who reflected back to you who you were. So technically, you chose yourself. You chose the good qualities that they mimicked from what you were displaying to them, and they memorized it and subconsciously recorded it in their mind's eyes, or in their mind through their eyes, and reflected it back to you. They, sort of behaved the same way. They picked up on characteristics that they were able to just throw right back out at you in similar fashion. And you're not somebody who observes yourself regularly, so it won't look like they're copycatting you. But technically, I feel that's what they're doing. So you're a great person to fall for. You're a great person to want to be around, to like, obviously, because you like the narcissist and they were just picking up on your vibrations, your and who you were and how you um, react and behave socially and privately as well. So you have to take this to heart, that yes, you may have been conditioned, yes, you may have grown up or been raised or nurtured in an environment where there was either one or multiple narcissists. Okay, you may have been groomed under narcissistic abuse or psychopathic abuse or some destructive, dysfunctional abuse system. And once you come out of that, or once you um, interact with the rest of society, or put some distance between you and that, whether it's just for a few hours or miles or years, whatever your personal situation and circumstances is, you have to understand that that is familiar to you. Okay, so when you met the narcissist, you did feel like you were meeting a great person, but when that evaluation began, um, I guess a couple of things happen. You feel like it was somewhat familiar to you, like, oh, this is not too bad because, you survived your family system. You didn't really, at this point when the narcissist evaluating, you didn't even realize that you may have come from an actually dysfunctional, destructive family system, okay? Or that you may have been conditioned. Like, this is deep stuff. So when that behavior begins, you may not just walk away, you would continue because you don't identify it as abuse. You just see it as, okay, you know, this is just the differences between me and this person, or this person's having a bad day, or uh, this person, you know, is just what this is just what happens in relationship. You have to compromise. There's ups and downs. There's ebbs and flows. There's difficult times, but we'll get through it. Or once we go to therapy, it'll change. Or he said or she said they will never do it again the second or third time. So, it's not like you chose a narcissist because let's say it's a karmic relationship. Many so-called gurus claim that as well. That is karmic. You're just here to learn your lesson. You chose this person and you chose this life and um, you know, came through some veil of forgetfulness, whatever it's claimed to be, and you're just learning hard lessons, right? To carry on into another life or to pass on energetically somewhere else. I can't go too deep into that, but the bottom line is that it may have seemed familiar to you when it began. It may not have seemed too harsh because you, like I said, you may have been familiar to it. You may have grown up in a system like that where it was just every day. You're used to that behavior. It seems normal. So the fact that you stayed, that was not even a terrible thing because you may not have grown up around healthy relationships. All you saw was, people being sarcastic, putting others down, lying or cheating, or just what you thought, oh, every family goes through this. You didn't realize that, no, it's actually um, an emotional abuse, a disorder, and the like. Okay. And like in one of my videos, Narc Bugs, I also go into detail about how um, once you wake up to the narcissist, you realize that there are other narcissists or persons with severe narcissistic traits that appear to be malignant, pathological traits around you. Perhaps your parents, siblings, um, and even persons who are connected to your livelihood, like a supervisor or a boss. Um, and so that's why, because it's like you're sort of like your eyes are sort of veiled or covered, or you have a blind spot. And that's what it is. You enter into this blind spot with the narcissist because to you it's familiar. Now to someone else who may be triggered by a narcissist, who may walk away from the narcissist right when the evaluation began, or who may not even appreciate all the attention they're getting from the narcissist and that love bombing phase. They may walk away because it's not familiar. They're like, oh, this is strange. They may not have grown up in a community or family where people behave that way, or it was not tolerated, or they had some semblance of functionality, or some, healthy connections in their families. So that's why they would react differently, right? Because it was not something they would be considered used to. This is where I feel like the dynamics change. This is where the differences happen. So when you hear victim blaming and shaming, I feel like that's all unhealthy. Okay, narcissists choose you. They need to be corrected, wake up. They need some type of spiritual intervention, whether it's some sort of exorcism or some unknown technological therapy that can, render them free of this disorder. And who knows, it may or may not be in this lifetime. For instance, let me give a personal example. So, on the cusp of my divorce from my ex-spouse, who have and had and displayed severe narcissistic traits near the end of our connection, relationship, interaction, marriage, um, he actually admitted, I don't know if it was intentional or not, that, he had watched me for a while before he actually approached me. Because, I was in a college setting. He was also attending the same college. Um, and, I was busy trying to get all of my work done, get my credits, because it was during my associate's degree time before I entered into the baccalaureate phase. So he was watching me for a while, and I'm like, what? Like, I felt chills go down my spine when he actually admitted this. I'm like, watching me for a while. And then he, I was walking to a class one day and he just ran up on me and he was, started a conversation. He was very cordial, very gentlemanlike, respectful, and all of that. And so we exchanged information, we hung out as friends, and then we got closer. But it did seem natural initially. And for a long time, it actually did, actually into um, years, but eventually it started to deteriorate. And, I just thought it was the weathering of relationships, and this is where the compromise began and all of that other stuff. It goes deeper. And then I also realized that, my own nuclear family that I was nurtured from have strong and severe um, narcissistic personalities all through it. I don't even want to go into that. But yeah, so narcissists choose you. Like, no sane person with a healthy mind wants to walk up to an abuser. No one does that. No one says, "Oh, I see abuse behind that door. Let me open it and walk in." Just add sticks and knives and arrows to my life. Life is already not as comfortable as we'd like it to be. You don't want to add a narcissist on top of that, okay? So just, be cool with it, be calm with it when it comes to, people claiming that you chose the narcissist. It puts a lot of burden on yourself. You have to free yourself from that ideology. And I mean, you can use the energy it takes to wrap your mind around it. Hey, you may even be someone who completely agrees with it and completely understands it. That's cool. But I know there are many people out there still struggling with the idea. I think it boils down to, just familiarity, what we see on the television about Prince Charming, what we see or in the media about relationships, compromise, ebbs and flows. There's no perfect relationship. You got to work it out. And then when you enter a marriage, you make this vow or this oath that you commit for better or for worse. It's like all of these little things that we grew up under that are in society that we don't realize has programmed our mind to accept certain behavior, okay? Or the oh so glorious mother who you may have had to observe, endure her neglect, conditioning, self centeredness, all manipulations and tactics used to keep you down, keep you suppressed, keep you under her wing, not achieving above her, or even your dad who may have been a narcissist. Such conditioning is why a lot of people, remain or get more and more wrapped up in the web of narcissistic abuse, all the way down to discard or them just feeling completely defeated and not knowing which way to go, feeling confused and just emotionally and mentally locked up or trapped in such familial or family relationships or romantic relationships. Because trust me, narcissists run into people as well who, don't accept their bull crap. And, they stay for a while, they get hurt, they walk away. Then there's some people who just have a little bit more ease or empathy or just have the time of day for them, so to speak. And perhaps also looking for a relationship or a soulmate or just something forever, or probably have been through a lot of other traumatic experiences or relationships, and they feel like, oh, this one feels warm and cozy, and for me, maybe this is the final one, and so they fall victim to that, into that trap. But they would not have consciously, with their eyes wide open, walk into that. If you feel me, if you understand where I'm coming from with this, you can give it a thumbs up, or you can just subscribe. That'll be fine as well. And yes, everyone can use a little bit extra self love, a little bit extra never hurt no one. So, yeah, that's just my message for today.